Alright, hello everybody. Today I'm playing this Yuri visual novel. Tender feelings like water. It is apparently about a girl and a water spirit or something like that. Hello. And well, a lot of rain I guess. It sounds kinda moody. I like the mood of rainy weather. So let's see how it actually is. Oh, that is a little louder than the but hopefully it's fine. Maybe I should move a little bit. Let me see. Or maybe it's fine actually. Like this, I guess. Alright. I came to realize my existence as an individual on a rainy day. I was born on this river as a spirit of water. Oh, let me tone the volume down then. Hopefully like that. Maybe it might be a little bit too much. It's kind of hard to tell. Let me also try to adjust the camera a little bit. Okay. Then, oh, yeah, the camera is kinda not cooperating. Oh, now it's better. Then, before I knew it, I'd become a lonely existence whose only company was the rain. I loved the rain, the pitter-patter it made soothed my ears. On rainy days, the river grew, so the places I could go grew as well when I followed the water on the ground. It was on one such rainy day that I met her, a beautiful girl in red whose name I had yet to learn. During this time of year, the rain never stopped falling. Perhaps few like to be outside with their soul companion, the rain. I entered town, oddly disappointed by its colorlessness. When would I finally cease to be disappointed? I wondered to myself as I continued through the town, searching for what would clear away those regretful feelings in my heart. Red caught my eyes, or was it the girl who caught my eyes first? The vibrant color of her clothes at that moment felt as if I had never seen such a thing before. There she was, a girl in red, under an umbrella as the rain continued to pour. I approached her in curiosity, putting on a human disguise. Not until I spoke did she notice my presence. The spirit. Hello, I couldn't help but notice you out in the rain. Hello. You're out here as well, aren't you worried about getting wet? No, never mind. I thought that you looked beautiful. Could I accompany you for a conversation if you're not too busy? Well, that is like some some tactics, I guess. If you are so inclined to do so, I have nothing else to do today but watch the rain. So we stood in the rain and exchanged our first words with each other. What were we to talk about? At the very least, we could watch the rain together, listening to my dear friend's quiet hums. Yet I wanted so much to talk to her, this girl in red who stood out so vividly. Do you like watching the rain? I do. I don't like the rain, not really, but watching it fall makes me feel like I'm in a world where all my troubles are being washed away. Yeah, I kinda get it. You two are out on a rainy day like this. Are you the same? Yes, I really do agree. It's soothing, isn't it, the rain? I wonder, like, at what point does he tell that he's a water spirit thingy? Resumed looking at the rain. Quietly, wordlessly, we stood there amidst its pitter-patter. I then realized that I had yet to learn her name. I seem to have forgotten to ask, "What's your name?" I should say the same to you. Well, maybe she doesn't have a name yet. Until you tell me yours, I won't tell you mine, my mysterious conversation partner. Then, one day, I got a little ahead of myself. I couldn't answer her original turnabout of my question onto myself because I had no name. Not really. Was I such an incomplete existence? I wonder, like, she doesn't have a name, but she does have, like, language and things like that. I simply wanted to know hers. I'll tell you my name. I look forward to that day. There we were, two girls under the rain, neither knowing the other's name. After a few more pauses, we began to chat again. Slowly but surely, we talked, mostly about meaningless topics that came to mind, happiness swelling in my chest that I had found someone who I could talk to. This girl, whose name I had yet to learn, was from this town, she said. She liked sweets, spicy foods, not so much. So on and so forth. These things I heard from her mouth. Oh, let me see. Oh, why is music so quiet? I'll try to balance it somehow. I'm pretty sure that was the default, but that is actually kind of weird. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, it would be a shame because the music is really good. The title screen music was also good. I told her a mountain of half lies, claiming to be from a distant place and visiting this town. The way her eyes crinkled at my words made me feel as if my lies had been seen through. What a terrible feeling that was. Yeah, I guess it's kinda scary to just randomly go like, I'm a water spirit, by the way. No, I guess it depends. Like maybe it's just me being weirdo, but I would be like super excited if like water spirit came to me all of the sudden. Yet she smiled at me as we talked. I couldn't pinpoint the exact moment that my heart decided that I wanted to meet her again. I could only say that I really did have fun talking with her for the first time. I have gotten a little carried away talking with you. I hope I wasn't too much of a bore. No, not at all. That should be my line. The rain is getting heavier. She stuck her hand out in the rain, feeling the large droplets fall, long, slender fingers. Nah. He started, but didn't finish. Instead, the expression on her face grew darker. Some masked man, a messenger perhaps, approaching in our line of sight. He whose face I could not see disturbed us. I didn't bother listening to his words, which were not directed to me. I knew that he was calling her away. More importantly, when he came, she no longer spared me a single glance. Oh, well that's kinda worrying. How vexing that felt. I hope it's not like the thing you usually think, well, I guess in this, like in the visual novels it's different, but in, well, like more mainline stories, like you always get worried that, well, is this going to be some kind of drama? But I doubt it. I'll have to go now. Maybe it's just like her father, like being into cosplay or something. She said so quietly that I might not have heard her, still not looking toward me, but not yet following after the man to leave. I whispered after her in the same way. Would she hear me? Will we meet again? I suppose we will. She heard me. She turned to look at me for a brief moment once more. A smile. Then she left with the man. Like that, the first of our meetings came to an end. When I stood alone in the rain for a while after she departed, I felt that the rain seemed louder than usual. The silence was quieter than usual. Or at least the rain isn't as loud as in the beginning. We met again soon enough. Similar to the first, our second meeting occurred on another rainy day in this season where rain never stopped. The pitter-patter filled our ears with its soft rhythm. So I guess like basically if I had to guess, like the thing is that the water spirit can't leave the river if it's not raining, basically. And well, this season it's raining, but it might be different soon enough. I had to confess although to no one but myself, that I visited town with hopes I would see her. Oh, does that make her kinda like a stalker? Or like maybe it's different if you just wait there, like maybe... Well, I guess it kinda depends on like where you wait. Like if you just like chill somewhere at the town, then it's fine, but if you like wait in the buses like outside her house, then it's yikes. Amidst the sound of my friend, I heard a humming. Someone was singing, so faintly that one shouldn't have been able to hear through the rain. Though I guess like what might make it different is that though the red girl also wanted to meet again. Was the singer even aware that she was singing? Recognizing the voice, I followed the sound of music until I found its owner. She, dressed in red, watched the rain listlessly as her lips moved just so slightly to a song without lyrics. I wondered where she gazed as she walked, ripples forming in the water beneath her feet from her steps. Then she stopped singing. An almost embarrassed expression flitted across her face as she noticed my presence. Good morning, we meet again. I liked the melody of her voice. Good morning. What were you singing just now? You heard? Yes, you're a wonderful singer. Don't tease me like that. I can barely sing even a small, made-up tune like that. I'm not worthy of praise. She puffed her cheeks like a child. What an odd expression that was, a novel one to see on her face. Oddly enough, what a fitting adorable expression that was. Alright, then I won't speak of that matter. As it should be. Are you watching the rain again today? I am. I have nothing else to do, but on rainy days I can at least do that. Could I accompany you for a conversation today as well? Actually... We are already talking, aren't we? My mysterious conversation partner. You're right, we are. We quickly fell into stride, talking once more. I was sure she thought me strange for asking so many questions about what must have been mundane to her. I wanted to know about the world she lived in and how she lived her life. Had I at some point lost focus as I looked at her? I had. She touched my cheek, jolting me out of whatever stupor I found myself in. Her hand was warm. You? No, never mind. Maybe she's noticing. What is it? It was nothing important. Maybe it's something else. Like maybe, like surely, like if she noticed, like, then the expression would kinda tell it. Or maybe it depends, who knows. Seeing her brush away her self-interrupted thought, I didn't even think to ask. Our conversation continued, When I touched my face for the lingering sensation of her fingers, I realized that my hands were cold. So our current topic came to an end. She paused for a moment. Yeah, maybe she is just cold, like physically, or temperature-wise. Like that's kinda puzzling the red girl. Open your mouth. Why? I did as she said. As I did so, she placed a piece of something into my mouth. With that something came a novel sensation, a tingly, melty feeling that made my tongue feel warm. So it must be food, I guess. Is it sweet? That was what it was. Sweet, a word that I had almost forgotten in my surprise. It's sweet. What is it? I snuck it out earlier this morning. It's honey candy. Yeah, like maybe. Like I think this game probably takes like place in the past, most likely. Well, pretty likely I guess, given how it looks. Like no like roads with cars or anything. Your favorite? It's what everyone gives me after I drink medicine. They say it's to get rid of bitterness, but I can't help but taste the medicine from it now. But of course, I still like it. She seemed happy today. So medicine. I wasn't so familiar with the bitterness of medicine, so all I could taste was smooth honey as she smiled softly in that way she did. We continued spending the day together, sometimes chatting and sometimes just walking through the rain. Eventually, we parted once more. Even after the candy all melted away in my mouth, the sweetness lingered in my mouth. I wondered if it would eventually turn sour, but it never did. The sweetness merely began to fade away after a while. Perhaps she was the same as me, in that we had nothing else to do in this world. Time and time again, I met with her during this season of unceasing rain. She seemed always to be idling, and she welcomed my company. We fell into a wonderful, unchanging routine. Well, like if this takes place in the past, and well, the red girl is a girl, well, girls couldn't work in the past, I guess, really. Not actually say like how it was in Japan or so. Well, I guess like, well, girls could cook or stuff like that, but not like work kind of work. Mostly, I guess. So I thought naively, in my world, painted brightly with lights. When had I forgotten what I was? It was another rainy day. My first companion's tears fell so quickly that I could barely catch the rhythm of pitter patters. Spotting her in the rain, in red, I approached, so thoughtlessly I had approached. I was unprepared for her greeting. I hate the river. Well, that's kind of where the spirit came from, so that might not be a nice thing for her to hear. Had she been crying, with the corners of her eyes rubbed red, she said these words that pierced my heart. I really hate the river. Her voice cracked a little. This pained hoarseness didn't fit her. If only it never existed. But now I guess it's starting to be about flooding or something. From the very start, I lied, pretending to be human. She shouldn't have known that I was the river. Yet I still wish to the deities, about to block away her voice as she spoke of her hatred of me. The life I fabricated for her. If only I could have lived it instead. So basically, like, well, she is the river, so maybe that's why she knows like language and stuff, like she has heard people talk. Well, like, not sure, like maybe she's like an image of the river, but well, surely the river is still there. Well, like, I think well, like long time ago, like every river and such had like a spirit or something, or people thought like that. Was like, well, other things in nature, I guess. Like big trees could be something that people thought that had spirits, basically. And like the water spirit is like the same thing for the river, I guess. Something like that. I did my best to keep my shaking out of my voice. What happened? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. No, whatever it is that made you sad, whatever the river did, it probably deserved to be hated. Oh. Thus it became that I should never tell her the truth of my existence. Surely she has to at some point. I, so pathetically cowardly, could not bear to become hated. Yeah, but that could change, I guess, if you told her. Saying hypothetical words, as my tongue stumbled over simple phrases, I found that I was horribly stupid. She didn't even want to hear these words of mine. Maybe. I'm not sure how to put my feelings into words right now. We stood quietly in the rain. Could you hold my hand? That's kinda nice, but also like, well, given the circumstances, well, it's a little bit of a mixed feeling, I guess. I nodded, unsure if it was okay for me to fulfill her request. I slowly took her hand and squeezed gently. Now, is the water spirit actually like your human temperature cold? Cold. Her hand was unusually cold. I hoped that maybe my hand would feel warm to her. After a long period of silence, she finally spoke. I don't think I have ever told you about my family. Okay, well, let's see where this is going. I nodded for she hadn't. My father was a scholar. My mother was the daughter of a former magistrate. I had an older brother who was studying for the imperial exams. Yeah, this is definitely taking place in the past. Well, kinda funny feeling that the mother is defined by her family and not by what she actually is. And I was their pampered youngest daughter. She described to me an image that I could barely just imagine. This was a story of the past, of a little girl and the people dear to her. It wasn't my fault that they fattened me up with pastries. Well, no, she's not like overweight or anything at all, based on the graphics. Or maybe it's more metaphorical, like the pampering king. A shadow of joy persisted in her voice. The at that times, those innocent emotions that filled the child she illustrated leaked out. Favorite daughter, they said. I was their only daughter. Back then, I hadn't appreciated them enough. If I could, I would go back in time to scold myself for being so unfilial. Was there a need to be greedy? Did I really need a prince to sweep me off my feet? Why did I complain about what we didn't have? Our modest life was the best for me. You're not sure if it's exactly modest life. If you're probably in a rich family more or less. We had been planning a visit to the capital for my brother, but I fell ill at an inopportune time. They left me with a family friend, departed for the trip, saying it couldn't be postponed. Why did I throw a tantrum then? Well, I guess it is a little bit of a shock if you can't go. Even then. But I don't know, if throwing tantrums is going to change it. If you're sick, there's just no way you can go. I didn't say a single word, only squeezing her hand again. I comforted myself in preparation for the ending of the story that I must have already known, yet had forgotten. In the end, I never saw them again. They got on a boat to get there by river, but I thought it was a bad fever dream. But their boat was caught in a storm. It sank, and they drowned. I couldn't even cling onto the hope that they escaped and survived because their bodies were found. Her voice grew painfully soft. They aren't the only people who the river had swallowed. Why was the river god so angry that they had to die? I don't think that is like river god things. That is just like, well, use a better boat, I guess, or be more careful, or well, bad luck. I hadn't even been angry. I'm also... No, never mind. I wanted badly to know this time, this confession of hers, that she began yet cut off. This heart-rending joke must have been important. Of course, I couldn't ask what she wanted or didn't want to say. I shouldn't talk about this sort of thing. I'm sorry. Yeah, though I guess like if you lost your family then well, that is a reason to be upset for sure. You shouldn't apologize. I should thank you, my dear conversation partner, for listening to me speak. As she didn't know, I couldn't apologize no further. She couldn't know after all. I just hoped my expression did not give myself away. All the sorrow she had to face must have been my fault. I could not remember the events from before I knew I was myself. But reality that river had drowned people was undeniable and unpreventable. Yeah, but well, like, sometimes things just happen in nature. When we parted that day, I realized that I had been holding her hand the entire time. It is like a pretty sad story actually. After that day, I was sure she had cried. She did not bring up that matter again. However, I sometimes found myself wondering why her sad memories had struck her that day of all days. I made no answer. Another day, we found each other again. Conversing in the rain, I looked toward her. At a lull in conversation, I couldn't help but voice the thought that had been born in my mind the first time I saw her. You're beautiful, you know. You say these things as if you aren't. She reached out, her hand touched my face, caressing my cheek gently. Her hand, soft and warm, made my skin tickle and flush. When I first met you, you reminded me of someone I dearly loved before. Someone who had drowned before had formed a sense of self that I did not yet know. Like, why has everybody drowned? Or like, well, maybe that's just her assuming. Like, surely it's not like everybody must have drowned. Then I discovered that you are you. Her face came closer to mine than usual. She was looking at me, her clear eyes reflected nothing but me at that moment. What was the sound in my ear? The beating of my own heart. I don't regret that. Surely, human beauty was a fleeting thing. Yet, what had formed in my soul was not an excruciating, desperate something in my chest to love and be loved, twisting and curling. I realized that I had fallen in love with her. Having no expectations for a future where I could tell her of my feelings and hold her like a lover, I decided that I should simply want for a continuation of our casual days together. Well, actually, like a water spirit wouldn't be the weirdest one. Like I have seen in these games, like AIs and stuff like that. For example, if I could ask one question of curiosity, that person, were they your first love? I don't know if what I felt for her was romantic love or not, but if it was, then my feelings wouldn't have been allowed. All I could tell was that the person she spoke of was truly treasured. But I want to know more about you, my beloved conversation partner, that even still don't know each other's names. It's like we have known each other for so long, yet I know so little about you. I always end up talking too much. I enjoy listening to you talk, as do I to you. Let's talk about you today. That's going to be tricky. Because it might be a lot of lies. To those pleading eyes, I could not refuse. For some reason, I thought to myself that I couldn't lie to her today. How odd it was to talk about myself. Well, at this point, it's probably better to not lie, because it's going to be so big can of worms that surely it's not going to work. Well, I'm not really into lying, so it's kinda hard to tell how far can you go with lies. Maybe that would be an interesting thing to explore in a story too. But anyway, back to this story. What weather did I like? I liked rainy days. What food did I like the most? I couldn't quite decide. Some topics I had no answers. Others, I learned the answers to for the first time as I questioned myself. Had I fallen in love with someone before? Love. Yes. What sort of people do you like? Have you met a special someone before? I hadn't expected her to return my inquiry to me. I paused for a good few moments, thinking that I was looking at the person I loved right before me. That is kinda like an awkward one, like it's, well, I guess like you could go like, or Axela like you, but well, it kinda depends on the situation, like whether that's doable. And like, well, of course it can be risky. Have a person I like. Well, that's a thing that can like backfire easily, because then like she might think that, whoop, you're taking so a goodbye. She doesn't know it, and her identity is a secret. I couldn't tell her I loved her. A spirit like myself, whose river had taken so much away from her, wasn't in a position to say words like I love you. Even if I could, I feared the pains of rejection. I wonder if you could go something like, well, I have a crush on somebody, but I haven't said anything. Wink wink. We were friends at this moment. Complacently, I was already satisfied. Now you have made me curious and a little jealous. That person is lucky to be liked so much by you. Yeah, well, that's why it can backfire. If she meant what she said, then I would be overwhelmed with joy. We talked and talked and talked. Eventually, this day ended like all days. Well, it wasn't any difficult questions then, I guess. Or like maybe she just like brushed the difficult ones away. Anyway, as I waved goodbye to her departing form, I couldn't help but wish for our time to last forever. While I was left by myself, my mind still wandered back to the topic of love. There was a famous love story that even I knew of. The story of the cowherd and the weaver girl was about star-crossed lovers. One a humble human man, the other the daughter of the heavens. They met and fell in love and eventually formed a family. And yet, the girl's parents, the gods, decreed that she shall not be with such a human man and tore her away from her husband. What were the two lovers but two creatures from worlds completely different? They were two people deeply in love. They were so deeply in love. It may have been the sorrow of the lovers that allowed them to once again meet. Magpies formed a bridge for the pair, allowed to do so once a year. A mortal man and a girl from heavens would thus cross and meet upon that bridge as lovers. Was love such a powerful thing? Returning to my river, the rain continued to fall. This companion of mine was ever present. Just a little, I talked to it and asked it those questions in my mind. I'm sure even you have heard of this story. Yet the rain never answered. My Takitam friend, who had been by my side forever, had never once spoken to me in words. I want to see her again soon. I sighed as I melted into the river water. As with this time of year, the rain filled the river up to the brim, making the water rush furiously. Here I was, cooling my head as I traced my lips with a finger. Her lips were pretty. Our routine under the rain continued. She, a girl in red, and I, a water spirit, found each other to chat once more. After we exchanged greetings, she started the topic with a sense of unease. I wondered why I thought so. Perhaps it was the way she pursed her lips before speaking, or the tightness of her fingers. But there seemed to be something off. No, I had dug too deeply. What made me feel so was the question itself. What would you do if you died tomorrow? More like, I don't know, like if there is a lot to do in that case. Like, just live normally, I guess. Well, like, well, I'm somebody who thinks that when you die, you're just gone, so it doesn't really matter. I guess, like, if you have money, like, you can donate some of it at least, then. Like, that would be something that would make a difference, but not for you, but for the world, I guess. Like, it's not like you need money when you're dead. What could I do? Could I die? How would I die? This morbid question sent a jolt of realization through my mind that we would one day have to say goodbye. Goodbye when the rainy season ends and I can no longer come meet her. Yeah, that's what I thought earlier. I didn't dare to think of the other form of goodbye, even as I voiced it. Death would mean never meeting again. I would want to wonder on her question, on the answers that weren't answers floating in my mind. I didn't know because I didn't like to imagine the matter in regarding me and her. To spend it with someone I love. Oh, it is a good choice, but yeah, makes me kinda sad. Not because it's a bad answer, but like, well, because it is a sad concept. Up until the very end, I'd like to live a happy life. What if I... No, never mind. Quiet followed with the sound of the rain. I hated seeing this expression on her face. I'm sorry. This must be an uncomfortable thing to speak of. No, don't apologize. Did something happen? It's something difficult for me to put into words, but I'll tell you one day. Or at least that means that she's not like dying tomorrow, I guess. Before I could speak again, I heard the sound of splashing, feet moving quickly through the wet streets. We looked in the direction of the sound, spotting a masked pair. I wasn't supposed to have gone out today. They had caught me faster than expected. The pair looked just like the man with the mask who had taken her away on the first day we met. They spoke in hushed tones to each other and in scolding ones to her. They were going to take her away. Their words toward her brought up anger within me, but she shook her head slightly as she saw my shoulders rise. I didn't listen to their words, not really. Those words not directed to me, cause I understood that they were taking her away and forcing that painful expression onto her face. As I was present, they said no specifics about what they were doing. Goodbye. Then she was gone. So like basically, like she was born in a good family and then the parents were goners and then like somebody else was there like to take care of her like when that happened, and after that like well like if it's like how things have been like historically, then like because she's a girl like she would need like some guy to take care of her or something like that. But why masks though? Or are masks like some kinda like thing that is something else and it's just like the way the spirit sees the thing? Why masks though? Like I can't really imagine, like surely they aren't like ninjas or something. Like surely like ninjas don't just wear masks like normally when walking outside. It's interesting. I wonder what is actually going on. Like it sounds like, well, like certainly I guess she can leave home, but there are reasons why she shouldn't. Really weird. Rain continued to fall the day after. As always, I entered town to seek her out and chat. Yet, from that day on, I could no longer find her. The girl in red was nowhere to be seen under the rain. I wonder if the girl is basically just like... But like if she were sick and that is like the reason... And like well, if she's like terminally ill, like then it would be kinda cruel to not let her well do nice things. And like maybe that's why she asked the question too. Like that would kinda make sense, but that would be really sad. I contemplated my loneliness at the river, pitter-patter. In fact, I was the river. talking in the language of water to only the rain, my once and now more sole companion. What happened to her? No matter how much I searched, I couldn't find her. She was surely somewhere I couldn't go. That could be a place as simple as indoors, anywhere my water did not enter. Interesting. Well, I guess like technically like rain is like vapor from the like lakes and rivers and stuff. So like maybe that's like ability basically. That would kind of mean that well she's held indoors. But then again it's raining, so well normally like well she could just be indoors because it's raining, but that hasn't been the trend, so it's kind of worrying. Perhaps she had fallen ill. Maybe she was just busy. What about the people in masks who took her away? At the very least, I wanted to know if she was okay. Like surely the masks aren't like COVID kind of masks. Like, well, surely she's not just having COVID basically. Not like sure like I would imagine they made this game like before COVID, but it was like not sure what the actual year was, 2019 or 2020. What 2020 would be well COVID, but then I kinda doubt that's what's going on. Even then, like back then, like well, nobody would make a game about COVID, like it was too like real. Well, some people made games about COVID, I guess, like simulation games and such. I want to see her again. The rain continued to fall. Water droplets hit the ground and the river surface. Talked even when no one could hear me. Echoes of her voice floated to my ears, the warmth of our fingers brushing against each other as we chatted lingered on my soul. These feelings were absent when I talked to the rain. I'm not alone. But you have never spoken a single word to me, and you'll never respond to me. What bitter words these were that left my mouth. Should I have apologized when all I could hear from my words were the truth? I didn't. The rain made no move to respond. Or maybe it's just like all like well things she's imagining and like well but rain is just rain. Or like maybe it's like metaphorically like they are companions, but well only because they both exist. And are kind of water, I guess. My heart ached. Slowly but surely, life reverted to as it was before I met her, alone, an entity of just water, with only the rain beside me. I closed my eyes for a moment. During this time of year, rain never stopped falling. I discovered a wedding procession heading towards the river. With pride sat within that magnificent sedan. Large dowry followed her, carried chest by chest, seemingly unending. Red, that color reminded me of the girl whose name I still had yet to learn. Why would there be a wedding now of all times? Why would they head toward the river? Why were people wearing masks, like those of who took her away, part of this procession? They stopped at the river. There was no groom inside. Well, that's obviously her. The bride stepped out of the sedan, face covered with a red veil. Familiar figure. She was getting wet from the rain, water slowly soaking into her clothes. Or like maybe she's like a priestess, like that would make sense, I guess. Or why would like the other people wear masks though? Alone, she acted out a farce of a wedding like a doll. Ceremonial cups by herself, the bows by herself. She performed with the eyes of the people behind her trained into her form. More like, I don't think it's wedding, like it is like a ritual. It was a dead wedding, like the marriage of a concubine into a house. Yet they sent her in red. They sent her with a generous dowry. I wanted to ask what they were doing. Frustration bubbled in my chest as I watched unseen to them all. Then I heard a voice. No, it was a whisper, so quiet that none heard but me. I knew this voice I yearned for. This voice like the sound of tears. I don't want this. What made her so sad? What mad game were the humans here playing? A strong gust of wind blew by, throwing rain into the faces of everyone present, and tearing away the veil from the bride's face. The veil flew far, far away. I saw her face. I met her eyes. She did not meet mine. She was, as I suspected, my dearest conversation partner, the girl who I had fallen in love with. Still, she looked away. Even when she could not see me, she did not let me see her pain. The entourage began a second part of the ceremony. Someone dressed perhaps most elegantly among the group, although all these humans looked about the same to me, started to speak. A marriage to the river, a prayer for flooding the stop. In long-winded words, he described the intentions and the purposes of this parade as if they were doing a righteous act. So they are basically like sacrificing her to stop the rain, I guess. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not, but that's kinda how it sounds. Oh well, obviously that's not going to work. The extended rainy season, the rising water levels, might have struck fear into these people. She took a few steps forward towards the river as if on cue. Water lapped at her feet. Don't come closer to the river, it's dangerous. She couldn't hear me. I hadn't shown myself to her yet, but she stopped. I should have ended this farce now, but for some reason, the idea of revealing myself paralyzed me. I didn't want to be hated. Oh well, it's probably better than she dying. I didn't want to be hated by her who hated the river. To die. Well, yeah, because they are sacrificing her, I guess. This murmur that I barely caught with my ears said die. What? She said die. This was what they were doing with this fake marriage. She said die. They were going to kill her. She was going to die. What? A buzzing sound filled my ears. I watched as the humans grabbed the girl, trying to drown her. The hand over her nose and mouth, and hands restraining her arms, the hands tying her arms together with weights, the hands pushing her forward and pushing her down. They were trying to drown her. Oh, that is yikes. This feeling was nausea. She was not yet swept away into the rapids near the shallows, into the deep darkness, where if she sunk, she would never resurface. How dare they? How dare they? As if my head would burst, as if I would vomit, the buzzing in my ears intensified. Oh, that's... not like sure like what makes a difference. They both seem kinda the same to me. Surely like, well, surely it's okay to be angry, but not sure like what is it, like what makes a difference here? Like disappointed at who? Okay, well, I was angry. My eyes couldn't look away from this scene. The rain intensified. If they wanted to drown her, then they should all drown as well. I really thought such a thing. Well, that's not quite what I wanted. Maybe this is a bad end then. Something broke, perhaps a dike further downstream, and then the river began to truly flood. No, what broke was my self-control. The floodwaters still surged. Oh, rip everybody, I guess. I shot myself, taking her from the panicked grasps of the other humans and pushing them into the roaring waters that had formed a torrent around where she stood. Whoop! Whoop! They were swallowed alive hopelessly. Rip. Didn't expect this to take this dark of a turn. With the water around us, she did not dare to look at me. Only when the river receded to what it could from my outburst, the heavy rain slowing, did I realize I had done a terrible thing. The buzzing in my ears faded, but the heavy anxiety now sat in my gut. Are you okay? I undid the bonds of her arms. To think that they had intended to throw her in the river and let her sink, unable to swim, made me angry. The way they handled her, left newly forming bruises on her skin. Yeah, well, the handling left. That's what it is. I'm sorry. I might have hurt her as well. I must have hurt her as well. I hadn't expected you to be a god. No, never mind. I'm sorry. I won't come to find you again. Well, that's bad and then I guess. But like what is like a good end, like well she will die I guess. That's not good. That is a bad end too. She was scared. Her trembling shoulders were because of me. Suddenly, I became scared as well that this was the end. Let me send you back to town. I couldn't let her walk all the way back by herself. If she returned alone, I couldn't imagine what response the townspeople would have when the others had perished in my breath. Well, her suffering was not allowed. I'm not sure like how that's going to happen now. Taking her back to the town, I made my presence known as the river god and demanded that no harm fall upon her. Human sacrifices to the river were unwanted. I was playing God. Well, I guess that hopefully keeps her alive, but like, yeah, maybe that could have been handled better. Then that was it. I returned to the river alone. Oh, that is the bad end, I guess, so we'll play the good end. Eventually, the rainy season came to close. My first companion departed for different lands, saying not a word to me. I was alone. Many days passed. People once more began coming to the river for little human tasks. I continued my time in solitude, trying to forget the feelings of my first love. I never expected to see her again, only hoping that she would live happily and slowly forget the strange spirit she met for one rainy season. That was how the world should have gone, so I closed my eyes for a short moment. I couldn't sleep for hundreds of years. I could sleep for hundreds of years and never wake instead of nursing an aching heart. Are you here? Getting no response, she picked up a stone and skipped it across the water surface. Can we talk? Or maybe it's not a bad end then. You came and found me. I did. Why did you save me? If you had just swept me away like you did to them, then I could be assured that you were the cruel river god that I hated. Yet you saved me. Even though you're still the terrible river, you're also still my dearest conversation partner, the kindest conversation partner. I never knew anything about you from the start, and you stole away my everything, including my heart. I made her cry. I'm sorry. I love you. Regardless of everything, I love you. My sight began to blur. I didn't know what this hot feeling in my eyes was. Tears. I was crying. Why was I crying? I love you too. Well, I guess we can see what happens to the other ending. Alright. So they are trying to drown her and Paul. I was disappointed. Like, can we basically just go and tell them that nope, no sacrificing here? This very disappointment twisted in my gut disgustingly. If only I could just wash these humans away. I could just wash these humans all away. Oh, that's the same that happened in the other part though. I could, but I wouldn't. More importantly than anything, I had to save her, the girl I loved. If my cowardice or rage cost me her life, then I would regret this day forever. I manifested myself to them, prying her from their grasp. So I guess we are basically just saying that nope, no sacrifices here. The rain lightened, as if telling me to ignore my urges for destruction. The rain became much softer than it had been before. Those people who had tried to kill her stared at me in shock before dropping to their knees and kowtowing. I was a god. I was the river spirit. Therefore, to these humans, I was a god. The river needs no sacrifices. Holding back my desire to scream at them, I spoke simply to dismiss these masked people. Am I not your god? I am a merciful god. Do not do this again. Leave now. I must talk to the girl for a while. Okay, well that is basically then I was saying that nope, don't do this. Okay, maybe that's surely that's better. I let them bang their heads to the ground, their voices trembling, as they apologized for their angering me before they turned tail and left. I undid the bonds on her arms. To think that they had intended to throw her into the river and let her sink, unable to swim, made me angry. Well, that is basically the same as before, I guess. I'm sorry. So you're the river god? Yes, I am. You saved me. You said you didn't want to die. I didn't want you to die. Then she began to cry, tears overflowing from her eyes. She choked on her relief, breathing spasming with hiccups. I held her tenderly until she had left out all of her tears. Thank you. Do you hate me now? Why? Because I am the river. No, I don't hate you. I loved you. No, never mind. The voice softened at her statement of love. I nearly didn't hear it. My heart began to race. I wanted to tell it to quiet down because I could barely hear her speak. I'm a little confused what I should feel at this revelation, but I don't hate you. I couldn't hate you. Not you. I don't know what to say. I need time to think, but I'll definitely tell you the next time we meet. You don't need to come find me. Next time I'll come find you, so please wait for me. Yeah, now it's like taking a much better turn. Ah. Why? I'm doing both the endings, so hopefully it goes well then. Was pulled into her determination. I will. She needed time to think. I couldn't let her walk all the way back by herself, nor did I want to do such a thing when I could spend even a little longer with her. May I escort you back to town? She nodded, so I took her back to town. Revealing my presence to the townspeople, I wanted to ensure that she stayed safe. If they dared to try to drown her again, I wouldn't be able to hold back. Well, we already saw that, so well, hopefully they wised up. Let's meet again. I'll find you. After lingering for another few moments, I returned to the river. Eventually, the rainy season came to a close. And so on. I wanted badly to see her again, yet I had promised to wait for her. So I waited. Even if I had to wait hundreds or thousands of days, I would have waited. Of course, she didn't make me wait that long. I always had an inkling that something about you was different. Even so, I liked you. I liked you for who you are, for who I knew you to be from our short time together. A kind and beautiful girl. Before I knew it, I had fallen in love with you. I love you. I love you too. My chest felt like it was about to burst. My heart raced, blood flowing to my head. Had I heard her words correctly? Had I voiced my feelings correctly? I loved her. I loved her so very much. A dam for happiness broke somewhere in my mind. Well, don't flood the place though. Can I kiss you? She nodded bashfully. Warm, soft and sweet, this tender feeling filled up my heart. I love you. I wanted to spend eternity with her. Wanted to learn much more about her. This love story of ours, I hope for its continual happiness, for it to continue being bathed in tender feelings like water. Alright, let's see the epilogue then. Oh, I guess like ultimately like I played it in right order, then like first doing the bad one and then the good one. This was a conversation we had some time after the rainy season was well over and the skies had become clear and sunny. Have you ever heard the story of the cowherd and the weaver girl? Though I guess it has because the spirit said that first. Yeah, it's really unique having like this kinda like protagonist. Yeah, it would be interesting to write that kind of story, I guess. Like you get to do like a lot of like, the thing about getting inside the head of the being in that case, I guess. It would be interesting. Interesting to try something like that. I can't help but think that their story and ours is really quite similar. A human and a goddess who can meet to the river. I used to think about that story quite a bit. I wasn't surprised because I knew that she was a secret or not so secret romantic. She wasn't very good at hiding things even back when we first met. A complicated expression appeared on her face for a moment. What was she thinking about? I can't imagine only being able to see you once a year. Her tongue was so sweet that I was almost flustered. By the way, like how can the spirit now be in the town? Like, is she like, does she have like a little tub of water or something, and she's standing there? You're right, our story has a happier ending. From there, the conversation moved to other topics. What would we do in the future? Should we travel or go sightseeing? Like, can you do that actually? Like, how does it work? How would we explore the things that we, either she or I, had not experienced before? I wondered when I had become so optimistic about the future. Right now, with her, I was happy. She called me by my name, and I called her by hers. Our story wasn't finished yet, and so our time together continued on. Somewhere in the distance, a magpie flew away. Yeah, it was a touching story. Like the way how it doesn't have like a ton of graphics, but they have used them well. Like basically like a couple of different scenes, like the river and the town more or less. But yeah, it was like a really interesting one, like seeing a story from kind of non-human perspective, and like trying to figure out like how like the thing works basically. I guess it's like up to the reader to decide basically, but I would imagine it's something like like the river spirit like knows things that have happened like near the river, stuff like that basically, and like that's why she has like ability to speak and think and stuff like that basically. But like I guess the things like this, like you shouldn't think too deeply about them, like otherwise you might kinda ruin the story. I don't think I did. I had fun thinking about it. Yeah, it was a nice game. Like a little thing that can make the endings like a little more touching is actually the way you just get like in one and two and get thrown to the main menu, like you kind of want a little bit of conclusion on top of that. Like doesn't need to be anything too fancy, like just like a fade or something instead of being dropped to the main menu, but well, that is a minor gripe, like it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's also like it makes you wonder, but I think it's probably different. Or maybe not, like who knows, like it's probably also something that is up to the reader, like is she like the river spirit as a whole, or like basically the girl reincarnated who drowned or so. But like I don't know, or like maybe just like the spirit like kinda combines like the shapes of the people who get drowned or something, or like it's the mix and match. Like, well, I guess it would make sense because the spirit would know like, well, get a good look, so to say, I guess. But like, well, I would like to think that the spirit was like her own kind of thing, yeah. But yeah, it was really interesting. A lot to think about, and that's always nice. Like when you can like go deeper than the surface, I guess. But that was Tender Feelings Like Water. I like it. Had a lot of fun. I'll try to figure out something to play tomorrow too. Anyway, thank you for watching and for the comments, and see you later. Bye bye.